Hey everyone, today we're going to build our very own USB computer keyboard on a circuit board. That's what this is. If you Also, you can find more instructions at 9023.cybercitycircuits.com. They're powered from an Arduino Pro Micro, which is this little doohickey right here. Now that board right there is really neat because it uses what's called a 32U4 Atmel controller, which can act as a USB human interface device, so you can build keyboards with it. Well, that's one of the last pieces we're going to put on, so we're going to put that up for now. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to put on are these diodes. Now, if you look, you'll see how the diodes have a black stripe on one side, and they're kind of brown on the other side. On the board, you see that there's a line with an arrow pointing towards it. The black line on the component goes on the side of the pad that has the black line on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these diodes, we're going to spin them together, and because we need to bend them to put them in the board, we're going to go ahead and bend them all at the same time. Just like that. And then what you could do is, you can take your wire cutters, and you can just clip all of them at the same time, and you can just set them off to the side. And that's the first part we're going to put in our board here. So let's go ahead and I'll put in all the diodes. Might fast forward through this part, but I'll just show you. Start in one corner. Make sure the line's pointing down. And there you go. And then when you get it, you can pull the leads off to the side a little bit. Hold them in there. You can go ahead and put all the diodes in the board and then solder them all at the same time. Or you could just do like all the ones on this line and then solder those, and then do all the ones in the next line. You don't have to do them all at the same time. It's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put all these in the board right now. Alright, so now I have all the diodes soldered in place. Again, I started on this side, and then I clip the leads, and then move on to the next side, and just keep on until I'm done. So next, we have some resistors that we need to put up here. And these are current limiting resistors for the diodes. They're right here. Just 1K ohm resistors, nothing special about them. So let's go ahead and bend those down. We're going to put those in the board too real quick. Again, it doesn't matter what direction these go in. The diodes, it does matter. With these, it doesn't. So you can put them in whichever way you want, as long as they go in. And we'll do buttons. So with the buttons, you're not going to want to do all of these at the same time. I wouldn't recommend trying it, but I would just start on one side, right? And you push it into the holes, and then you hold it, and then you take your fingernail or a screwdriver, or even your clippers even, and push the leads down. Be careful not to scratch the board though. You don't want to scratch the board. You just want to push them down so the button doesn't fall out. You're going to do that a lot. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to do this one side, and there you go. So now I'm just going to solder in this one side of buttons. Now, when you do this, the first thing you want to do is you only want to do one corner of each button. I'll show you why in just a second. So let's go ahead and do that one. I'm going to skip one. I'm going to do the next one. Skip one, do the next one. So that only one corner of those buttons is soldered in. And now we can go back and we can look to see if any of the buttons are crooked. Because if they're crooked, we can fix it now before we solder everything into place. So let's say one's crooked, like this one right here. I can take it, I can hold it in with my finger, and then I can just heat it up, and it'll just fall right into place. So now they're all straight. We can go ahead and do the rest of the pads. Now I have all the buttons on the board, and the diodes. Soldered all the points. Took a little while. We only really have 4 more pieces left. So let's go ahead and put on the LEDs. Should have 3 in the kit. Now, just like in past kits, we have them marked where the square hole is your negative side and the circle hole is your positive side. And on the LED, you see there are 2 different links. One lead's longer than the other. See that? The longer lead needs to go through the circular positive side. Circular positive side. So I'm going to take them, I'm going to hold them in place. I'm just going to bend the leads on the back so they'll stay where I want them. And I'll go ahead and solder them. Next, we have to put the headers on for the Pro Micro. So I have those right here. And then we also have the pin headers that go on the micro itself and the micro. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to push and put these in there. Okay? And because if you solder these in and they're not exactly straight when you solder them on, you're not going to be able to get anything to plug into them. Just like that. And I'm going to push that through the board. Sit it in there. Alright, now it's going to move around a little bit, but that's okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a dab of solder on each of the rows, just in one corner, to hold them in place. And then I'll flip it over. Right, and then I'll put solder on one on each side there, and I just want to make sure it looks good, make sure it looks straight, make sure I got it on exactly the way I want it, and I do. So next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do all the pins that are on the back of the board. Okay. And I'll flip it back over, and I'll do the same thing, but on the top of the Pro Micro. Just like that. So now when you're done soldering, this is all finished, I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I'm just going to pour it on the back. And I'm going to take an old brush. I'm just going to brush it clean. We're trying to get all that flux that's on there off. Just loosen it up. And you can use an old t-shirt or something to dry it off if you like, but it'll dry on its own. There you go. And this should already have the code on it for the keyboard. We preloaded all these for you before you got them. So now you should be able to just hook up a USB cable to the end, and it should work. The code is on the website through our GitHub page. If you have any trouble, you can push the code from there, or you can play around with it yourself.